Joe Dispenza, Evolve Your Brain. We're on chapter 12 and we're on sub-chapter Thinking, Doing and Being. So we've got a word open. So we're going to discuss. We're going to go through this sub-chapter and we can discuss as we go along. Please feel free to write any comments, like, subscribe, share. And let's go from thinking to doing to being. And I'll leave the stage to the word read aloud speaker. We'll call her Helen. Hello, Helen.
Dr. Joe Dispenza. Evolve your brain. Thinking, doing, and being. I know that these additional terms and concepts regarding memory add a greater burden to your understanding.
Yeah, so the previous chapter was talking about explicit and implicit memory. So if you purchase the book, you can read back and understand that. And I feel this subchapter is, as Dr. Joe says, more simplified. That the previous chapter was quite heavy information. So this sums it up quite nicely. It simplifies it, gives examples.
I'd like to simplify some of this for you, and figure 12.2 should serve as a handy guide as we go along. First.
Okay. Here is, I'll share with you figure 12.2. So this is on my Kindle reader. So we're going to flowchart. So knowledge, going from knowledge to experience, knowledge to thinking. So knowledge to experience, to wisdom, to being. And I can also go this way, go from knowledge to thinking, to personalized, repetitive action. Knowledge, experience, doing. So there's different ways you can go to get to being, go from knowledge to being it, to learn to whatever you're learning, gaining knowledge on from being it. So we can go from knowledge to thinking about it, knowledge to thinking, to applied, personalized demonstration. Right, so knowledge to apply, yeah, and then we can go from knowledge to experience to doing, then repeat or replicate experience at will. Thinking, experience, wisdom, and being. Go back to the chapter.
Think of learning knowledge in the form of semantic memory as a way to declare consciously that we have learned that information.
So this is, we'll get to the point from non-declarative to declarative memory.
When our conscious awareness activates
it's that journey.
These newly formed circuits in the neocortex, we are reminded of what we learned. We can declare that we know this information because we have embraced it in the form of a memory.
So embracing our memories.
Knowledge involves our thinking or our intellect.
Knowledge involves our thinking, or our intellect.
We also said that knowledge paves the way for a new experience.
Knowledge paves the way for a new experience.
To apply knowledge, we have to modify our habitual behavior to create a new experience.
Modify our behavior to so I'm going to bold this. Knowledge involves thinking, or involves our thinking or intellect. We also said that knowledge paves the way for a new experience. To apply knowledge, we have to modify our habitual behavior to create a new experience. Continue, Helen.
Experience, then, is our second type of declarative memory. If learning knowledge is thinking, then having the experience is doing. To firmly establish a long-term memory, whatever we want to remember must have a high emotional quotient, or involve repeated conscious experiences or recitation of an idea.
So, to learn from experience, it has to have a high emotional power, high emotional quotation, or in repeated involvement.
For the most part, though, experiences that we have never embraced before provide just the right newness of cumulative sensory information to create a new flush of chemistry and newly activated circuitry.
Let's go back to that. Let's see, take a step back and understand this. So we're here. Okay. For the most part, though, experiences that we have never embraced, experience that we've never embraced before, provide just the right newness of cumulative sensory information to create a new flush of chemistry and newly activated circuitry. Okay, so yeah, it's not, we don't have to embrace our experiences. It's just going through the experience and being passive, I guess passive, any experience, just experiencing it without the emotional energy, without believing you need to emotionally invest in the experience to learn it. What's Dr. Joe saying here, that just the sensory experience is just enough flush of chemistry. But the emotional energy can enhance that experience. I believe that's where we're going with it.
An increase in the threshold of freshly combined stimuli from seeing, smelling, tasting, hearing, and feeling is almost always a sufficient cue to form long-term memories, because now the body is involved.
Get the body involved.
Doing is what puts the experience into long-term memory.
Doing puts it into long-term memory. Okay.
The first time we have the novel experience of staying up on a surfboard, we can call that doing it, and that experience will likely stay with us as a long-term memory.
So yeah, staying up on the surfboard, if we remember it, we we can call that doing it.
If we can repeat this experience over again at will, now we are being a surfer.
Yeah, as an example, going from doing to being, if we keep doing the surfing, bouncing on it, repeated actions, learning from falling off the surfboard, we can go just being it.
To make a memory non-declarative, we have to repeatedly reproduce or recreate the same experience over and over until it makes the transition to an implicit system. In a sense, when we
explicit to implicit, that's explained in the previous chapter. Non-declarative to
become an expert in any particular area, when we possess a great deal of knowledge about a subject, have received significant instruction in that area, and have had plenty of experiences to provide us with feedback, we move from thinking to doing to being.
So plenty of knowledge, experience, going from thinking to being to doing, going from thinking to doing to being. Yeah, let's get that right. And you can be an expert in any field, any particular area, understanding this concept.
When we possess sufficient knowledge and experience, when we can recall our short-term and long-term memories to a significant degree and with unconscious ease, then we have progressed to the point of being. This is when we can say I am, whether that means, I am an art historian, I am a very patient person, I am wealthy, or I am a surfer.
Yeah, so we're saying the more we learn a skill, master it, the closer we get to being able to say, I am wealthy, I am a surfer, I am a historian.
When we can make what we have intellectually learned so hardwired that we can easily demonstrate or physically do what we have diligently practiced.
So this is a science. This is happening neurologically behind the scenes, behind our conscious. We're hardwiring pathways from learning, whether we're aware of what we're learning or not. This is taking place.
We are now procedurally demonstrating what we know. As we possess a memory in implicit form, we are on our way to being a master of that knowledge. In other words, we can demonstrate our knowledge by automatically being exactly what we have learned.
Going to just automatic, explicit to implicit, being what we've learned.
To learn from our mistakes, or our victories, takes a level of conscious awareness that allows us to willfully make a mental note on what we did to produce that result, and then to become mindful of how we might do it differently or better the next time.
So this is just reviewing. It's all over philosophy, reviewing what we've done and learned, how we do it better next time. Yeah.
Applying what we just learned, we will inevitably manifest a new experience for ourselves. By changing our behavior, we will create a new experience with new emotions, and now we are evolving. Not only do we evolve when we pursue this endeavor, but so does our brain. We will then be using...
Yeah, so we're evolving when we learn from our experience and do it better next time. Doing it differently, changing our behaviors.
Philosophy not only to experience the truth of what we can declare, but to become the living example of that philosophy. Now it is permanently wired in the recesses of our subconscious mind, and it takes no effort at all.
It becomes effortless. The more you experience and review and change.
Learning knowledge is thinking. Applying knowledge is doing and experiencing.
Doing and experiencing. Applying knowledge. Applying knowledge is doing and experiencing. Okay.
Applying knowledge is doing and experiencing. Being. Being able to mindfully repeat the experience is the wisdom of being.
being able to mindfully repeat the experience is the wisdom of being.
Thinking is what we do when we are using the neocortex to learn. Doing is the act of applying.
So, yes, there's a degree of thinking. When we learn something new, there's a degree of thinking in the short term.
Or demonstrating a skill or action.
And it takes more thinking when we've learned a skill than.
So that we can have a novel experience. Both are part of our explicit declarative memories. Being, on the other hand, means that we have practiced and experienced something so many times now that it has become a skill.
Just keep practicing it. It just becomes a habit.
Habit, or condition that requires no
conditioning,
conscious will to activate.
Practice. It's just there.
This is the state we strive to achieve with all our actions.
This is a drive. This is what striving. This is happening, whether wanted or unwanted. Whether we're be aware of the actions. Obviously, we can pick up habits, bad habits that we've been practicing over and over again, repeating and learning. And yeah, that's addiction, right?
The final stage of learning is produced when.
So this is, yeah.
We make a.
So like drugs, alcohol, pornography, gambling, alcohol, whatever it is, the addiction, you can eat fast food, whatever the addiction might be. You know, if you're thinking about it, if you're thinking about gambling, if you're doing it and you're investing emotion into the gambling, then the neurons get more hardwired. So you are a gambler. You know, I am a gambler. We declare I am a gambler. So it's the non-declarative and declarative process it's not objective. It's not saying it's not differentiating between what is good and bad. It's just learning. It's us. It's our consciousness. Isn't that learning useful things? Because the expansion is happening. Whether it's not. You can't control the expansion. Expansion's happening through our experiences, the knowledge and our experiences. So it's getting a hold of it and understanding, what am I learning? What am I experiencing? What choices am I making?
Conscious effort to
what behaviors am I demonstrating? This is a reviewing process. This is why a reviewing process is vital.
Consciously be exactly what we have learned by the natural effects of repeated experience. If we have the knowledge, we can do the actions, so that we can be whatever it is we are learning.
We can be whatever we're learning.
Exists when a skill has become easy, simple, effortless, and natural enough that we can consistently demonstrate what we've learned. Dispenza, Joe.
Yeah.
Evolve Your Brain.
Yeah, we're next.
P 431.
Page 431.
Health Communications Incorporated Kindle Edition.
Thank you, Helen.
Dispenza, Joe. Evolve Your Brain. P
So,
400.
That's where Helen's kindly telling us which page that is. 431 from Evolve Your Brain. So I enjoyed that. I enjoyed reviewing this chapter of thinking to doing to being. And yeah, I'll bring that diagram up once again. New share. So this is what we've been discussing. Knowledge to being, repeated actions, experiences, knowledge, experiences, wisdom, being. Being is, I think, my experience, being is like it's spiritual, that is it. You know, if you be it, it's a spiritual concept, but it's a biologically, neurologically process that's happening. You know, we are being things that we're learning and experiencing, and behaviors. What behaviors we're demonstrating through our actions. You know, we're all taking actions, we're all acting, we're acting the play, but we're always involved in actions. We're always learning. You know, we're never, when we wake up in the morning, when we go to brush our teeth, have a shower, drive our car, go to work, go to the gym, play football, read books, watch TV, watch Netflix, listen to. You know, we're always, you know, eating, drinking, walking the dog, going to the back. We're always doing things. So we're always learning, and the more we do things, the more we find it easier to do the next time around. But before we've done something for the first time, it's a new experience. So you have to learn how to do it. It's like when you learn how to walk when you're a baby, you start to crawl, and then you start to walk on your 2 feet. You fall over, you learn from it, you get up again, you learn, you keep doing it, you keep thinking about, oh, I'm going to walk, and then you keep doing it, you fall over, and eventually the more you do it, you say to yourself, I can walk. So this is a process. And yeah, but for me, it's getting to that effortless point where it doesn't feel like you're doing things. It's a non-effort. There's no doing required. You know, it's leaving the doing. Yes, there's thinking and doing involved at first in the thinking in the neocortex, but eventually the more you practice it and rehearse it and review it, the more you will get to this being, and it will just be effortless. So who do you want to be? We all have this opportunity to be who we want to be. Now we understand how this all works. We can be a master at any skill if we understand the process. Yeah, thank you for watching. And I'll leave the link to purchase the book in the comments.